Howdy folks, welcome back to the channel. Y'all seem to have really liked that COD video, so let's double down. This time with Titanfall. What are the rules? Pretty much the same as last time. Rule number 1, no shooting enemies at all. Pretty simple. How are we gonna do this when there's so many fun futuristic weapons to choose from? Pretty easily, with the greatest movement system ever created. We can wall run, double jump, and slide all across the battlefield in order to close the distance on our enemies. Chaining the movement together means more speed, so unfortunately, we're gonna have to play like these ADD riddled COD kids. The only real challenge is when you're in BT. That's when the movement becomes more sluggish and slow. Speaking of BT, rule number 2, there is no shooting while you're inside the Titan. The game explicitly states that you have a neural link with him, so anything he does, you do. Of course, any shooting BT does while you're not piloting him doesn't count. That's just him being another one of your AI allies. Rule number 3, any equipment that comes in your Titan loadout is fair game as long as it isn't missiles or something that you have to aim and shoot. That means we can use any trip mines or thermite bombs in order to set booby traps. We just can't use the Titan's gun to set them off. This also means that using the vortex shield to catch and deflect bullets is also fair game. I didn't shoot anyone. Essentially, I'm just parrying bullets. And of course, rule number 4, any mandatory shooting sections do not disqualify the run. So let's jump into it. We start in the pilot gauntlet, where we run down a long hallway into a shooting section. I try to hit all the targets instead of shooting, but unfortunately, there's a trigger that respawns you once you leave the platform. Alright. But now, we get into the really fun bit. An obstacle course where you gotta complete the run as fast as possible by playing with the movement and shooting the enemies in your way. Only, you know, no guns. So I tried to get my score lower and lower by just meleeing people. I did this for about 30 minutes just playing around and it was a good time. And I learned something really useful here. You fly towards enemies you melee at, like the good old MW2 commando perk. Next mission up, we crash land and start the actual run, but we have no jump kit. Haha! Alright, let's do this. Ooh, let's do this a little less. So, we gotta move and kick the bots until the Titan ruins our momentum. Now, we bury our boy. We're just gonna bury the one, not everyone else. And BT sends us to collect some batteries. On the way, we beat the local wildlife, and even the flying bots pose little threat because we can just smack them out of the air. Collect the battery, load BT, thwart an ambush, and get a second battery for BT.
Final battery.
Now, we gotta calibrate BT's system, where the game makes us use everything at least once.
Positive attitude can only improve our situation.
Bring it, bitch boy, come on. Come on, bring it, get out your bubble. And then, we get to see how fighting other Titans look. And I hope you aren't motion sick, cause, come on, shoot, fucker, shoot me! Continuing our mission, we meet up with a couple of friendly pilots and throw hands with enemy Titans. We find Tone's loadout but choose not to use it because our vortex gets replaced and we'd lose access to long distance attacks. Further into the tunnels, while fighting 2 more Titans, I realized we can use the electric smoke to build up big damage before we kill them. It's a great AoE attack until we can get some better equipment. Now, you gotta separate from BT for a little bit, so it's time to fly through these basic grunts. Oh no! We regrouped with some of the militia and they offered us some guns, and I had a bit of a debate with myself on if these should be allowed. Is that magnetic grenade launcher? Ooh, how do we feel about this? A magnetic grenade launcher. I mean, in the COD run, I considered explosions perfectly valid, but this feels more unfair because of our movement. Anyways, I held on to it just in case, but I ended up not using it. We offer a hand to fend off some of the bots, and these died in 2 hits instead of just 1, so it was a bit harder than usual. After that, we get to parkour through the sewers until we spot where we shut down the sludge systems, where we then have to survive until we can cheese it to BT. They send a bunch of soldiers and even some ticks, these little explosive guys. But we can run close to trigger the explosion sequence and then jump away just before we are killed by it. And we regroup with BT, just in time for Kane's boss fight. I was worried that these would be harder to do considering we can't really shoot anyone. So the initial strat was to catch his thermite and throw it back, as well as any missiles his friendly Titan would shoot at us. And of course, we'd punch him when we're close enough. But gotta be sure to not be too close because the Scorch Vortex does crazy damage if we touch it. After a couple of rounds of catch, I noticed Kane got himself stuck on the stairs and refused to come down. So, just run up and cover his ass in electric smoke. I also think we may have broken him because he just stopped. He didn't attack or anything, he just kept yelling.
Ah, yes! Stay in there, bitch. Get in the smoke, fucker.
Hit me! Come on, hit me!
Okay.
Keep them for time. It's gonna take a lot more than that for us. No! It's on the way. No!
After Kane generously gave us his Titan loadout, which would be what we'd use for the rest of the game, we start moving through a housemaking facility and deal with small grunts easily. Scorch is the best loadout because it has much better AoE damage than everything else, and its vortex ability is actually just melting anything I touch, so it becomes very useful for killing Titans quickly. You just don't get as much range. Unfortunately, BT gets captured, forcing us to head deeper into the facility, where we get to do a bunch of cool parkour stuff while houses get built all around us. Now it's time for the fun little trap Ash has set for us. Entering the dome purposefully, we use the cloak ability to quickly hack a Spectre as they drop in, giving us more allies to distract from the chaos that ensues. Once the Reaper spawns in, we get to punching, which takes a little while considering the other militia soldiers either die instantly or don't do any damage. When the second one spawns in, we bait its accompanying ticks to detonate the Reaper.
Squad, prepare for dome breach.
Yeah! Alright, cool. Got that done.
Now we can escape the dome. Ash decides to nuke the facility, so we have to get out quickly, using the ticks to our advantage once again. With the base exploding, BT was able to free himself and we'd reunite. And make our way to the boss fight with the clanker herself, Ash. We start with thermite mines to do big damage before she phases to safety. To finish her off, we use a combo of thermite mines, vortex, and punches.
Back the fuck up!
We're one step closer to your end.
Yeah!
Before we execute her with one more melee. And finally, we can get out and move to the next mission. Onto one of the coolest missions ever, Effect and Cause, where you jump between time to maneuver your way through the facility in order to get the Ark. Once we get the watch, our cloak ability is replaced with the time shift, making it even easier to kill groups of soldiers. Just jump between points as you close the distance and then give them a good kick. The only part that gave me a problem, the elevators. A group of soldiers come out of there in the past, and when you jump back to the present, there's prowlers ready to attack. I know you can just skip all of this and move along, but where's the fun in that? I mean, just running past everyone removes all of the challenge, and I just can't live with myself doing that. Now, we just kill Titans in the past and get the Ark. Next, we save some militia being overrun by stalkers who thought they had the high ground. And then we're sent into the depths of this place to pick up an Ark Tool. It's just simple wall runs and punching bots, so no biggie. Once we get our hands on the Ark Tool, we take the big ass slide back to the start and reset the reactor. Watch our satellite break and have BT throw us across the gap, so we can get a new relay from another satellite. But in order to do that, we gotta fight across more IMC soldiers trying to stop us, making sure to hack any Spectres and activate the stalkers with the Ark Tool along the way. Unfortunately, we outran our help, so it's back to trying not to get jumped by the IMC. During these big group fights, it's very important to keep on the move and try to keep bouncing around the room, especially if it's a small room. Align the satellite so we can actually get to it and take the actually get to the satellite and take the relay. And make our way back to BT before the anti-Titan squads can do any real damage. Clear them and get thrown to the top of the satellite we need to repair. But first, get more BT dialogue. It's always important.
Hell yeah. I'm on a hot streak.
Your vitals do not indicate a temperature problem. Do you wish for me to investigate this hot streak sensation further?
It's just an expression, BT. It means I've been killing a lot of enemies quickly.
Understood. I have added hot streak to my vocabulary. I have had numerous hot streaks within the past 38 standard hours.
Once we repair the dish, it adjusts to being not very people compatible. And we get my favorite bit in the whole game.
Got you.
Next up is Trial by Fire. We finally get to the rendezvous with our militia after damn near the whole game, and even got to keep BT, and he considered us to be a real pilot. But we gotta move fast because the IMC already has the Ark and we need to stop them. So we get dropped into base via Titanfall. We gotta take cover while waiting for a missile strike to destroy the wall in order to get into the base. While waiting, we employ the COD strat of churning away and hoping we don't get shot. And with this mission being entirely Titan on Titan combat, it's surprisingly easy. The biggest problem is watching for a thermite core or a salvo core. But we just gotta punch through enemy Titans. Remember to build up your own core by using the heat vortex, and then for the big damage numbers, you use your core. This section has way more open space, so it's hard to just run up on a group of Titans without taking much damage. So it's time to let your team distract the enemies while you keep behind cover and making sure to flank them. Since there's only a few batteries here, when the health gets low we gotta start popping in and out of cover, making sure to have a few well-aimed thermite canisters. On the final push to the Ark, you get bombarded with Titans. I'm sure you can have a few allies with you if you play the game normally, but you know, we didn't. So it's just me and Briggs. And this is where the dangers of Scorched Titans are put fully on display. Sure, you can be shot or rocketed by others, but the stupid thermite launcher does insane damage over time, especially on the harder difficulties. So once he shoots you, it's pretty much game over. Because of that, I started prioritizing them first. Unfortunately, we couldn't catch up to the ship in time, so it's on to the next mission. First, we gotta get thrown across ships.
Now, go! Nice job!
After boarding the enemy ship, we travel across the side, disabling their anti-air cannons. And that's when the 6-4 comes aboard. With their help, we take care of anybody in the next room. And this is what I mean when I say in big group fights, you gotta stay on the move. It doesn't matter where to, as long as you move, you won't be hit by anything. After all that, we breach the cockpit, where I can let the 6-4 take care of them, but that's no fun. While BT's working on that window, I just gotta say, if you're enjoying the video, please give it a like, and why not subscribe? I got a few other challenge videos in a playlist I hope you enjoy. Now we get to regroup with BT and get to the most annoying part of this entire run, the boss fight with Viper. I've tried so many ways to kill him, but once his health gets down to about halfway, he jumps in the air and starts flying around. Switching to Ion's loadout, where we can catch and throw bullets back to Viper. But his Titan shields regenerate too fast. So I started to use the lock-on rockets to tear down his shield and deflect his bullets for the damage. But once again, Vortex is too inaccurate. I spent damn near 30 minutes trying to shoot down Viper with the Vortex, but the vortex is too inaccurate and I gotta keep constant damage on his shields. But in order to do that, I gotta shoot him with the rocket launcher. But in order to shoot him with the rocket launcher, I need all of that to build up. And then he starts to get more shields, and then I run out of rockets, and then I run out of vortex. Then I just get shot with the railgun anyways, and then my health gets whittled down to a sliver. So, unfortunately, the run is dead. I couldn't overcome Viper's second phase in his boss fight. We had to shoot him, but that doesn't necessarily mean I get to use the gun. Instead, here's what I did. I'm gonna have to use my own rockets against him. I'm glad they lock on though, because fuck trying to aim. There's also this secondary problem that isn't as big but can sometimes be an issue. We have to play a bit slower so our rockets can recharge enough to break down his shields and there still be enough in the salvo to chip away at his health, while also trying to get as close as possible to make sure the rockets don't spend too long orbiting him while trying to hit. And with such little health in our own Titan, we essentially gotta crawl on our hands and knees behind cover. After quite a bit of retries, we finally got him, and as much as I want to say I took him down with the vortex shot, a single missile was actually following behind him for a little while. But hey, we got him at the cost of the run. Unless y'all want to throw me a bone and call this a mandatory shooting section, but we can go through the rest of the game to see if there's any other sections where we have to use a gun. Like right now, where, surprise, BT was attacked by the guy we just shot. And in order to finish the fight, BT breaks open his Titan hatch and I'm supposed to shoot him.
I've lost the hatch. Need cover, need cover.
Cooper, aim for the cockpit.
But with BT's arm gone, he's looking a little rough around the edges. But we are able to get our hands on the Ark, and then the ship immediately explodes. So we wake up captured and interrogated by the big bad guy itself. He's threatening our life for the Ark, currently sitting inside of BT. Stuff goes a bit wrong and he gets the Ark. And then we get to go on a killing spree with the most overpowered weapon from Titanfall 1, the Smart Pistol. God damn it, BT, you know I can't use guns. Unfortunately, we can't use it. Just gotta go flying through, kicking everybody, moving as fast as possible through the entire facility. And it's the best type of environment. Long hallways with walls close together so you can build up insane speed, just to bounce between the grunts and fight all the way till we get to a clearing for a brand new Titan. And just cause you've bonded with your old one, we have his data core ready to be installed.
Hello, Jack.
Once that happens, it's time for the final Titan rush. You have to fight through various Titan classes that you've beaten before, but this time, there's a lot of them. I'm glad we have plenty of help though. Orbital missiles are fired from the ship we dropped in on. Unfortunately, the missiles don't really have a bias, so you gotta watch your step, cause that's just damage we can't afford to take. Thankfully, as long as another Titan just dies, their battery drops to the floor, giving us just enough heals to continue fighting through. Just remember to keep building that core and bait enemy Titans into friendly missiles. Once we finish off the last of the Titan resistance, it's just a short run to the actual fold weapon. The whole reason we needed to take the Ark from the IMC, so they couldn't use that weapon. But once we get to it, it's our last hurdle, the final boss of the game. Not the mercenary who threatened our life. He gets away scot-free with no consequences at all. He's made his bag and won't be in any other games ever. Besides, who even is asking for Titanfall 3? Instead, we get to fight his right-hand man, Slone. And for as confident as she sounds, it's unfortunate that I first tried her. Hell, I had more trouble with the Scorched boss. But this time, it's just her and a couple of cronies. I mean, the only difficult part was trying to find her after each phase. And I don't mean like Dark Souls sense of like first phase of the boss or the second phase. I mean like she literally uses the phase ability once her health gets low enough, and I just kill a couple of more Titans. I mean, I even had no trouble dodging her Doom Laser. And then she had to come in and try again. Luckily, she decided to be stationary so the thermite I placed at her feet can do the job. And then she says the best famous last words.
Like, I will not be destroyed.
Now that that's over, it's time to complete the mission and the game. So, we yank the Ark out of the fold weapon, or at least try to, and it severely damages BT, where we have to manually take over and load ourselves into the barrel. And of course, being fully content with the situation, we are ready to die for the mission.
Don't worry, BT. I'm not going anywhere.
Copy that, pilot. Protocol 3. Protect the pilot.
BT, what are you doing?
Trust me.
BT!
Cooper, we just lost BT signal. We're almost there. Cooper, I'm marking your
And
coordinates.
my fucking feels, man. This shit hit me when I played it back in 2016. This shit hit me when I was playing it for this video, and it hit me again while sitting here editing. Why the fuck would... How could it me to like a fucking robot? I mean, where is Titanfall 3? I mean, a real Titanfall 3. One with an amazing story and fantastic movement. But with that being said, all we need to do is make it to our spaceship in order to beat the game. So, if y'all enjoyed the video, I hope you consider subscribing. More importantly than that though, y'all stay pretty. Have a wonderful day.